Today, we're going to be doing the dreaded oil dipstick O-ring repair on my 99 7.3 Powerstroke. So these trucks are known for over time the O-ring swelling up and causing the nut to come loose, and then it begins leaking. Now, unfortunately, that has started on my truck. It actually started a couple weeks ago, and I covered it in black RTV to kind of slow it down because I had to order parts to fix this, and it was really bad. So as you can tell, there's a solid oil line that leads up over into my yard over there. I had pulled up right here, I stopped, and then I turned into my driveway. There's another line you can start to see right here. It comes up into my driveway. I had stopped again. That's where that puddle came from. I pulled up because I had just taken the spacers off of my truck, and I got out to look at it, and I was like, wait a minute, this thing's leaking. So I pulled it up and I parked it, and I popped the hood because I thought maybe I blew a high pressure oil line. That's when I noticed it was not coming from the top of the motor, it was coming from the dipstick, and it was pouring out. So of course I got worried, because if you know anything about these 7.3s, you know in order to fix this the correct way is to pull the motor, because you can't drop the oil pan in these trucks without pulling the motor. So I did some research and searched around online to see what I could do to fix this without pulling the motor, because that was not feasible in this truck. And Strictly Diesel makes a billet piece that you mount onto the oil pan. I think it was like $300. You completely drop the original section that the dipstick goes into. You drop it into the oil pan, and this new billet piece slides on over top and has dual O-rings on it to prevent it from leaking again. But I was like, man, I really don't want to spend $300 on that. And that is when I found this kit from Raff Diesel. It is the 7.3 dipstick adapter repair kit, and this comes in at $90. So a lot cheaper than the $300 option from Strictly Diesel, and this retains the flange that the dipstick itself mounts into. After watching some videos, I don't think you have to drain the oil, because I still have another 2,500 miles left on this oil change. I just changed it not too long ago, and I was like, man, I really don't want to change the oil again, but I went and bought oil just in case, and turns out I don't think you have to. But we're gonna pop the hood. We have to disconnect our batteries because we have to disconnect the starter, and we don't want anything shocking anything. So let's go ahead, get our batteries disconnected, get our starter removed, and then we gotta clean off all the RTV that I slapped on this thing to get it to stop leaking. Okay, now that we're underneath the truck, we have to remove, I believe there's 3 bolts that hold the starter on. It should be one at the very top, one right here, one right here, and then we can remove the starter and get better access to our nut on the oil pan. So this right here is our dipstick that goes in. There's a nut right here behind all this RTV. I will tell you, getting the starter off is a major pain in the ass. That top bolt is a absolute nightmare. All right, and once you've got it all cleaned up, at the top of the dipstick on the top of the motor, there's a 13mm nut holding it down. You want to remove that, and then you can come down here, get some pliers, and pop this free. Okay, so the dipstick is removed. I just cleaned it off. This is where things get tricky, because you don't want this piece to fall in, but you want to take this jam nut loose. So I went to Harbor Freight. I found the smallest set of channel lock pliers they have. These are the needle nose. They come in a 3-pack of normal channel locks, needle nose, and then one other thing. But I already tested with Raff's jam nut right there that it'll slide over this, because you want to discard this nut and you want to get the O-ring from the inside, but you don't want this to fall into the tank. So it will slide over this. So I can get this nut off, get the O-ring, put the new nut and everything back on, and then tighten everything back down. So this is where it gets really sketchy, because if this falls into the tank, you're screwed. That's all there is to it. You're screwed. You have to buy the diesel site billet one. So luckily I'm off work for the next 5 days. I've got 5 days off. So God forbid, for whatever reason this falls in the tank, I should have enough time to get the diesel site one in before I go back to work. But I'm gonna set the camera down. I need all the focus I can get, and we'll go from there. I don't know if you guys can see or not, but that's kind of a spot the phone might sit. So there's our old jam nut. Here's the O-ring. Okay, that should sit just like that. Not enough adrenaline, I could kill a fucking horse right now. This comes with some black RTV, a black rubber gasket, the metal O-ring, and then the new jam nut. So you want to cover the black gasket and the RTV on the side that's going to go against the motor. You want to get enough to where it squishes out the sides once it compresses, and then you're going to do the jam nut, and make sure these ears line up right here. So if you saw the orientation of this, there's a little kick out piece right above where my channel locks are. So right here, there's a little kick out piece that goes into those ears. You want to make sure everything's oriented as the way it came off. So make sure, you know, you record a video, take a picture, whatever. If you guys are wondering, this is my tight little squeeze right here. Thank God I lifted my truck so I can actually kind of sit up underneath here, but this has not been enjoyable whatsoever. This is completely and utterly sucked. But I'm gonna get this prepared. I'm shaking. I'm like literally adrenaline shakes right now. But I'm gonna get this prepared, get it thrown back on. I'm not gonna be able to record it. I wish I could for you guys, but I need every bit of focus I can for this. But once you get all this prepared, get yourself a clean rag, spray some brake cleaner on it, wipe all of this off. I'm shaking so bad. Wipe all of this off to get that little bit of oil residue off, and then tighten it all back down. All right, I have a whole heaping mess of RTV because I don't want this thing to ever leak again. All right, boys and girls, I'm sorry I'm shaking, but it is in. New O-ring on the dipstick is back in. Now let this sit for 24 hours before you start the truck so this can fully cure, and we will see if our leak is gone. I'm gonna get my starter thrown back in. I'm hoping that it'll still work because of that little thing right there. I don't want to pull this back out, and I don't want to buy a new starter, but let's get it thrown back in. All right, in case you guys were wondering, this is the oversized O-ring that's all stretched out and super stretchy. This is the old jam nut that was on there. So as you can tell, I mean, look how much bigger the O-ring is than the jam nut. It just popped out on the sides. And when I put the flange down on the inside to pull this out, this wasn't even connected to the flange. It was kind of just dangling down. So you can see on it where I had tightened it back down. See the flat spots on it. When I noticed this was leaking, I saw the jam nut was loose, so I just thought I could save it a little bit if I tighten this back down. And as you can tell, all that did was pinch it. I'm all done. I'm done for the day. I'm gonna go inside and drink me a nice ice cold iced tea, and let this sit overnight. I got my new shocks coming in for the truck, so you guys will be seeing that video here very soon. But my daughter's been napping this whole hour and a half it took me to do this, so I'm gonna see if she'll nap a little bit longer and I can relax and unwind, because this was a very sketchy job. But I'll pick you guys up tomorrow for our first startup. It is the next day. It's officially been about 25 hours since we did the kit from Riff Raff for the dipstick, and I'm about to do the first startup. So of course I'm a little bit nervous, but I've given it full time to cure. It should be fully cured, shouldn't have any issues. Please hold. Have to reconnect the batteries. Let's check it out and see if it's leaking.
That's a good sign.
If you guys missed the last video of installing the coolant filtration kit on this truck, go check it out. It'll be linked up above. Great video. Love this coolant filtration kit. But got bubbling coming from our catch can, so you know we're getting pressure through it. Good deal. So I'm gonna let this run for a little bit, see if it's gonna leak. But I think we officially fixed it. No more leaks. And something I haven't done since this O-ring let go was park on the concrete. And I can tell you guys now, we're not dripping anything. We've got one little fresh drop right there, but it is not from that. Come on, if the camera will focus. So we are perfectly dry right there. So we've got another oil leak coming from somewhere different, but we'll be able to tackle that in the future. I am very, very happy that that is no longer leaking. I'm sure this wasn't the best how-to video. There's not very many videos on YouTube, and the main thing I wanted to show you guys was those pliers from Harbor Freight. That right there was the game changer for this, because the nut that Riff Raff sends you fits over top of it. The old nut fits over top of it. The only other video I've seen on YouTube of someone doing this repair, they have a special tool. It almost looks like a metal coat hanger they've unbent and then made some bends into that slides down into that piece. But not all of us have that. But if you're in America, you have a Harbor Freight somewhere around you. You can go pick up those pliers, or you can purchase them online and have them shipped to you. So that is always an option. But I mainly wanted to show you guys the pliers and document as much as I could with doing this repair. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like on it. I will have in the top of the description everything I used in this video, from the pliers to the repair kit that Riff Raff sells. This video is not sponsored whatsoever. I purchased that with my own money, which is why I did not go with the full billet one. I was hoping this one would work because it's a lot more cost effective. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.